So what up, everybody? My first old school project. So what you're looking at is a 1972 Continental Mark IV by Lincoln. This was the best body style. And I think the color code for this is Moon Dust Metallic. It's a project for sure. I've been getting it worked on since I bought it like 2 months ago. Maybe 3 months ago. I took it through a car wash really quick before filming it for video. So what we're doing right now is just a walk around. And of course, we'll get more into it. Those are 15-inch American Classics by Coker on, I think those are Continental Mark V tires. Wheels, I'm sorry. Pretty solid body. Definitely has some rust, especially around that top. But the body is pretty good, pretty solid. It's a looker for sure. This was the successor to the 1969-1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III. And the Continental Mark III was actually a looker in itself. It actually was my first choice. But I came up on this and was able to get it for a good deal. Car was there in Pennsylvania. I was able to talk a good deal, then I had to ship to Chicago. You never really realize how big this car is until you actually walk up on it. This car is like 20 feet long. I think it's on a 128-inch wheelbase. 220 inches. So, yep, 20 feet. Weighing a little bit over 5,000 pounds. I love the front of the car. That front has presence. Especially where those headlights come on, which they do work. The white wall tires set this off. I do plan on getting the body work done and a new paint job next year, but right now I'm focusing on the mechanicals. I actually just got it out the shop a few days ago, so it actually needs a wheel alignment. Just had the tire front end tore up and install new upper and lower ball joints, new upper and lower control arm bushes, new upgraded Adeco sway bar with the sway bar bushes and sway bar links, all new shocks all the way around, KYB gas adjust, center link, and inner and outer tie rods. So the car ride's terrible right now because it needs, and it's rubbing, but I'm hoping it just, because it needs a wheel alignment really, really bad, to adjust those toe camber and all of the steering and everything probably needs to be readjusted and realigned. But I wanted to get a video so you guys could check it out. Love that side profile. The rear looks good too. And as you can see, the top actually looks really, really good, but it's the rust around the top. So the top is gonna have to come off. And I've touched it. Feels pretty solid all up and through here. However, when you get right here, you can feel it. You can feel the crunch if you even touch it. So I know this is probably rotted through. And that was pretty much common on all American cars around this time period in the 70s, late 70s, early 70s, late 60s. If they had that vinyl top, they usually have some rust through, especially if they were like in northeastern and midwest climates where it's pretty much humidity and the cold weather and the snow. But surprisingly, the body is pretty solid. Very little rust at the bottom, a little bit, but not too much. No rust through. Shouldn't need too much body work besides that top. A lot of cosmetic. Like I said, I get looks and stares if someone wants to comment and pull me over everywhere I go, and I don't even drive it much because it's been in the shop the majority of the time I've had it. Someone put coil springs on, I want to say. They're really heavy, and they actually were still pretty good, so I didn't change them. However, it's still a little high, so I think I'm going to go ahead and change those out. I may get some lowering coil springs. Just want to know how it's going to affect the handling, though. It's probably going to make it ride even more stiff with the gas adjust shocks. I'm not sure yet, but it definitely is sitting a little high. However, when I get it painted and everything, I'm going to get some Vogue tires put on it anyway, and most likely some 100 spokes for sure. I think I'm going to go with a similar color as this, maybe a little bit darker red or a deeper red. Not sure if I'm going to keep that top or if I'm going to have it just be a painted roof and then eventually install a sunroof in it. I'm going to pause to show you the interior for a second now. So let's look at the interior. Interior is pretty much solid, pretty clean. Armrests. These were pretty crappy when they built them, so they don't last long. Still has the original floor mats. These were the twin comfort lounge seats. I think this car was optioned up with pretty much every option from the factory. You can see back, so you can see back there. Pretty clean. Still got the floor mats for the rear as well. The upper window was actually an option in 1972, but pretty much every dealer ordered them. So it's pretty rare to actually see one without an upper window. Pretty clean. Definitely could use some leather conditioner and cleaner. And those seats should come back nicely, I would imagine. Front seats are a little bit more worn, but no rips or tears, for sure. Let's get in. So this is the dashboard from 1972. I actually prefer the 1971 dashboard a lot better, and the warning lights. For 1972, you get this. And I think a lot of mine need to be fixed. The temperature light doesn't work. Alternator light does come on and then work. It seems like the oil pressure works. Low fuel, door ajar, and the sure track come on and off. And the fasten seatbelt, I think, only works if the passenger seats are buckled. So it's weird. I don't know. But the dashboard is pretty solid. You do have that crack right there, but other than that, it's pretty solid, clean. Glove box. Tape player that actually, the radio works. I'm not sure if the tapes work, but the radio actually works. Speaker only works on one side though, and that's this door on the driver's side. The passenger side worked the day I got it, and it hasn't worked since then. And if you look out the window, you see that long hood. It's like a 6 feet hood. So when you drive the hood ornament actually drives you. The hood ornament starts turning long before the car turns. And my windows, all of these switches I think need to be replaced. They're old, of course. It's a 51-year-old car. The windows do go down and up, but they need help. The passenger works a little bit better than the driver's, but the driver's window, definitely you have to help it up with your hand. So you often get fingerprints on it because you have to pull it up. However, it does work. I think the motors or the gear worms in the window motors need to be fixed, for what I've seen on YouTube. This actually needs to be fixed as well, but it does work. Want to change all those door locks, and these were vacuum operated door locks, even though they say electrical. So when you push one down, the other goes down. However, my passenger door is not working for some reason. So I think it may need a new door actuator on that side. And as you can see, the door pull is also missing. I broke the antenna the first week I bought it. I went to the car wash and forgot to let the darn thing down. So you actually do have the antenna, and it actually works. And look at the carpet from back then. They actually had that. Sorry. The carpet from back then actually was that plush, thick carpet. So it actually looks not nappy, but that's how it was. And it was considered luxury back in '72. Those two wires are for the horn. I do have the horn in the glove box. There was a horn button because this is actually the steering wheel for the cruise control. So this actually had, if there was a 3-spoke steering wheel, you did not have cruise control. So this is a 2-spoke, so it does have the cruise control, which does not work. I'm not sure why. Steering wheel has also seen better days. So I don't know if the horn wires was from the factory. I'm guessing not, and that's some aftermarket accessory, but it does work. Like I said, it came off. I made a mistake, it kicked the wires loose, and so if you actually put the two wires together, it's like a train horn. It's that loud. It's almost like an air horn. So I will eventually connect it and screw that back underneath the dash where it went. And I think this is like an aftermarket accessory probably that they did at the time. Pioneer amplifier. I'm sure that's from like the 70s or 80s. And actually they had an actual button for speakers as well. So I'm guessing rear speakers, which also do not work. So the door speakers I think are 6.5. And the rear speaker deck is 6x9. So I'm definitely going to get a new sound system. And but that's, like I said, this is a project, so baby steps first. And let's do a startup. Find the keys. As you can see, the radio works, and you see the sure track light is on. I don't think you can see the words, but low fuel light is on. This thing sucks gas like it's no tomorrow. And fasten seatbelt. So like I said, the low fuel light be on even if you fill it up. So I don't know if that light actually works, or if I need a new fuel sending unit. The actually one in the dash, that does work. The clock does not work, and the speedometer does work. Actually sounds pretty good. So the work I had done, I had got a brand new carburetor, Edelbrock Performer 1406. I'll show you that in a minute. I got a new tune-up done, spark plug wires. But I'll talk about that more when I open up the hood so you can see it. Just wanted you to see the interior and the startup. So you can hear the engine running. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the lights so you can see those really quick. You pull this. As you can see, it has cornering lights. Those lights look really good, and that's what makes the Continental, is the front. So the grill was supposedly expired by Rolls-Royce because Lee Iacocca, who was the head of Ford at the time, said that he wanted a Mark IV with a Rolls-Royce grill on it. And so there you have it. And the 72s is a one-year only model because they don't have the mandated 5-mile-per-hour bumpers yet. The 73 got the front, and the 74 had to do the front and the rear. So the 72 is a special model, which is why I only want the 72. Also, it's the fastest of the Mark IVs. This one does not have the dual exhaust, but I'm also going to get that one as well. So let's open up the hood. Heavy is an understatement. Now, whoever had it before me obviously spray painted the heck out of this thing, but as you can see, new distributor, new rotor, new fuel filter, wires, plugs. You look underneath there, you can see the carburetor. It does need valve cover gaskets. It also needs a heater core. So yesterday, after I got it back, the shop actually bypassed the heater core for right now until I could get it working because it was fogging up the inside windows and overheating. And as you can see, this is the heater core that was bypassed. There's the hose right there. The valve cover gaskets, as you can see, are leaking. The original air cleaner still is on there. Has a new air filter as well. AC works, but does not blow cold air. So I'll have to get that addressed as well. Probably needs a new compressor, which are those GM style York compressors. Let's take a look at the back. I see one of my lights are out. The right brake light, the right tail light, front right tail light. License plate light does work, as you can see. Man, I love those white wall tires. This thing is clean. Oftentimes when I'm stopped, I get a little bit self-conscious because of the rust, and everyone like, man, that's nothing. But I'm a stickler for perfection. But this is my first old school car, and it's ironic that I got a Lincoln because I was actually looking at a '76 Buick Riviera. I always get cars that everyone else does not get. I don't want a Caprice nor a Impala. I do like the G bodies, but I don't want a Chevy Monte Carlo SS or Cutlass Supreme because they're too hot. But this old school gangster, and that's, you don't see it every day, which is why I probably get so much attention. I realized I didn't even show you what the truck looked like. It needs some work though. The engine sounds smooth as heck though. I want to also upgrade the timing to, because the 72 Mark IVs had their timing retarded by I think 8 degrees. So you could buy a 69 through 71 timing and a 0 degrees timing, and it'll give you a little bit more pep. So I plan on doing that with the dual exhaust and maybe upgrading my intake manifolds. And that's about it. I'm not going to do too much performance. Just want it to be peppy. Let's turn it off. I don't want to run out of gas out here. And if you turn off the car first without turning off the lights, you can turn off the lights, but the light doors will still be on. They'll still be open. You have to turn off the lights first, which I didn't realize that until later on. I thought they were losing vacuum pressure. So you see the lights are off, but the doors are still up because you turned off the car first. So if you turn off the car after you turn off the lights, then the doors will go down. But damn, that look good, doesn't it? A little fresh wash. Don't want to do too much because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. But I want to get a wash for the video at least. And this bumper, I don't know if it's coming loose. It's uneven a little bit. You notice how it's cozy right there? That opens up on this side. So it looks like the bumper is coming down just a little bit on the left-hand side. Let's open up the trunk. Huge trunk. I actually did pull up the carpet last week. I realized it was leaking in here. I think the seals need to be replaced. I'm almost certain they do. You can look at it. And plus, it's leaking underneath the top, which I think has a hole in, so I think it's leaking inside the trunk area. So I pulled up all the carpet with the intent to throw it in the garbage, actually, to discard it. But I didn't. I just left it in there for right now. And that's the tire cover. This right here, it doesn't have the spare. Whoever it was, they didn't leave a spare. It does have the jack kit, which is at home. I took it out. And this trunk was full of spare parts, which is also at the house. These are some spare parts right here, actually. These are some of the bushes that I had left over from the work that I had done. I need to send those back, and some other stuff from Amazon, tie rod sleeves, that I think I'll send back as well because we were able to reuse the old ones. Yep. Pretty big trunk. You can see the back of the seat right there. You actually can see the 6x9s. None of that works, and then maybe because of the water that got in here, I'm not sure. Or they just blew out because it's a 50-year-old car. Still has the original jack instructions. But overall, the truck looks pretty good. So let's talk about the bumper. So I think this bumper was replaced, even though I have seen some 72s with this bumper. This is actually a bumper that was on the 73s. The 1973s had the bumper with the rubber molding in the center. So I'm not sure if whoever bought this car before me replaced the bumper because it was in a cleaner shape. But this is up for 73, but since the 72 and the 73 rears are the same, they're interchangeable. So I actually like the 73 bumper because I like the black rubber strap. So I might keep it on there, I'm not sure. Do need to get the lights though when they repaint it. You see the black is coming off the stainless steel, so that needs to be repainted. You definitely could put a couple of bodies in that trunk. And I want to say first year of sales for the 1972 Mark IV, like I said, which was a 1 year only body style per se, was close to 50,000. So it definitely outsold the Mark III, and definitely is major rival, Cadillac Eldorado, which sold, I want to say, in the 30s, 30-something thousand. So this is a huge success. Stickering for an MSRP of $8,000, which was an insane amount of money back in 1972. Probably would be close to $50,000, $60,000 today in 2023 dollars. (1973 and 1974 sold even more. 73 we had the huge gas crisis. Of course, I was not alive at the time, but you know, you can always do research and get information on these vehicles. Let's close the hood. You definitely need some arm strength. Let me pause that to close it. And yeah, so that pretty much sums up my review of the 1972 Lincoln Continental Mark IV. Back then, the Continental Mark IV was actually the flagship of Lincoln, and it wasn't actually called the Lincoln Continental, it was just called Continental Mark IV. The actual Lincoln Continental was the only car that they called the Lincoln. This doesn't even have any Lincoln badge. It just has Continental on it. It has the Lincoln symbol, but if you look, it says Mark IV. I want to say on this side it says Continental somewhere. Maybe it's in the rear. Yeah, it just says Continental Mark IV. So my next video, we'll do a test drive. And you'll come along with me on the journey as I work to restore as much as I can from this vehicle. So far I've already put several $1,000s into it, just with all of the front end rebuild and the engine work. So I got a long way to go. Also, do want to say last thing, that side view mirror on the passenger side was something that they added, because the 72s didn't even have this as an option, I don't think. Or maybe they did, but it definitely wasn't standard. And I want to say that they added it because there's no knobs on the inside of it to control it. So you have to control it by hand. You have to push it in to whatever your likeness is. But a lot of times they go back to where it was before, so it's kind of useless in my opinion. But back then they didn't have passenger side view mirrors as standard. That wasn't until late 70s. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to ask questions. I'm definitely open for suggestions on how we can make this work, but this is a bad car. Too bad Lincoln does not make these anymore. But yep. Thanks and have a great day.